Good morning and welcome to Bolton. For those of you who didn't catch our show 2 weeks ago, my name is Josh Kelly and I am the incoming administrative officer for the town of Bolton and will be sworn in this coming Thursday, September 5th. I am your host today after having taken over the show from Joyce Stille, who will be joining me as my guest. We have live shows on the first and third Tuesdays of each month from 10:30 to 11 a.m. and we rebroadcast those shows respectively on the second and fourth Tuesdays at the same time. Continuing effort to promote open communications in the community is our goal for this program. And if you have any ideas for future shows, please call me or email me at Town Hall. My number is 860-649-8066, extension 6111, or you can email me at jkelly@boltonct.org. My guest today is Joyce Stille, the long-time town administrator here in Bolton, and she is going to share with us a little bit today about her time that she spent here and a little bit about her future goals. How are you doing today, Joyce?
Good. This is odd being in this chair versus that chair, but
Absolutely, likewise. But I want to go ahead and kick things off. Could you tell us a little bit about your life before Bolton? What first led you to work for the town?
well, I can go back to the very beginning. I'll go back to my roots in Illinois and Iowa. I was born in Iowa, raised in Illinois, went back to college at Morningside College in Sioux City, Iowa, with a degree in business administration and economics, and worked various jobs, lived in Illinois. The Midwest was quite depressed at that point in time, so job openings were on the East Coast. So I came out to Connecticut, and initially I was actually the assistant superintendent at the Rocky Hills Golf Course. I'd worked some in college at a golf course and worked there, but that was while I was waiting for a federal job to come through, and that was actually at the VA Medical Center in Newington. That I was back inside the building, in the middle of the building with no windows. And after being out on a golf course, I said, I can't do this. And so the position came open with the town of Bolton for the buildings and grounds supervisor. And at that point in time, it was a one-person department. And that was, I applied, was fortunate enough to get the job. And ironically, what you or other people may or may not know is that Sandy Pirog was actually first selectman then and hired me for the town of Bolton. It's kind of ironic because Sandy is now first selectman as I retire. So I guess what goes around comes around. But as time progressed with the town, we had various people that didn't necessarily report to a supervisor. So they started assigning people to me, which is good and bad, as you know, as you're moving into this position. And as policies and procedures need to be written, it was Joyce, you can handle this. Would you write up a policy for this, a policy for that? And as John Guinan, who was the administrative officer at the time, he was leaving to go to the town of Coventry to what we referred to sometime as the dark side, the Board of Ed side. And he suggested that I become interim and that I become the administrative officer. So that was 1995. And I've served in this role that you're moving into since 1995. And actually this show, I did start in trying to figure out when and where. I think I've done well over 350 shows, and looking back to when I think I started this. Wow. So you have a few shows to do before you get really comfortable.
Absolutely, a little work to catch up, I guess.
Details, right? And that's, you know, normally I could sit over there and wouldn't even need glasses because I wouldn't need anything to refer to, because that's a far easier seat to be in than over here. But over the course of time, you know, we've talked about Sandy. Mike Aramita was first selectman, Carl Price was first selectman, Bob Moore was first selectman, and Bruno Simonetti were first selectmen during my time working in Bolton. So lots of changes as things have gone on. As I started the position, I went to the University of Hartford for their MPA program, and life has been good.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What part of the administrator's job have you enjoyed most?
I think the biggest thing is, as we've talked about, the public service and giving back and just making a difference. That's the one thing with public government that you can do. You make a difference. And to me, that's what it's all about. You'll find that out. I think that's why you came into this position, though, was that opportunity to make a difference and help people.
Absolutely. And I think that a lot of folks who get into public service are initially there to make that difference. Was there a moment when you first decided or realized that you felt like you really wanted to get into public service specifically?
I think we talked about this a little bit too, that ironically when I was in high school and in college, I avoided every government class, everything associated with it. I would take things in summer school so that I would not have to sit through a year or a semester. In college, rather than taking any social studies, political science, anything like that, I actually took a semester of third-year German to bypass all of that. So it's kind of ironic that I wound up in government. I was going to become a teacher, actually, chemistry and biology, and it was in the middle of my junior year in college that I said, no, it's not for me. My parents always strive for us to make a difference. So I think that's probably how I wound up here.
Absolutely. Do you have some favorite memories from your time spent living and working in Bolton?
Memories. There's a lot of memories. But, you know, certainly projects that have moved forward over the course of time. I came into the administrative officer position with the center school project being finalized. Ironically, we wound up in a lawsuit over that. The contractor had passed away during the project, which made things a little messier. And at the same time, we took back the Notch Road Municipal Center, the old school. And what were we gonna do with that building? And over the course of time, we've had various schools in it. We've had our offices in it. And 21 years ago, certainly the senior center going in is a major accomplishment. For you going forward, you're now dealing with the Notch Road Municipal Center, all but the senior center wing, as one of your challenges, and space for town hall offices. So again, what goes around comes around. And, you know, besides that, certainly, you know, we have done the town garage project. Now we're putting an addition onto the town garage. We built the buildings and grounds garage. So there's lots of projects oriented. We've purchased land. We've purchased the Rose Farm, which is now Bolton Heritage Farm. We've purchased Pastrito. We've purchased Paracchio. We've done a lot of things to make Bolton better. In the last couple of years, we actually purchased property next to the high school that we haven't even had a chance to talk about yet. So there's lots of things going on. You know, we've had upgrades and facility projects, fire trucks galore. I didn't mention that when I first came to Bolton, one of the first things, the highway supervisor at the time was Danny Rattazzi, and he was, Joyce, come on, you want to join the fire department? And
The rest is history.
The rest is history. I became an EMT. I went through Firefighter 1, Firefighter 2 training. I moved up to the rank of Assistant Chief. Before I left, I was involved. I was the high school softball coach for many years. And when I tore my rotator cuff, that kind of ended all of that.
Yeah. So you've been here for just over 31 years in town.
Yes.
That's, by some standards, quite a long time, certainly by mine, and by others, not so long at all. In your 31 years, how has the town changed significantly?
Some things have changed, but some things have remained the same. Mm-hmm. And you continually hear us talk about protecting our rural character.
Yep.
And for me, that was a real change from what I was used to. My graduating high school class was 860 kids. Bolton's pre-K-12 is right around there by itself. So coming from a town of 40,000 to a town of just under 5,000 was a real change, but that has remained fairly constant. And certainly, without hesitation, that desire to keep that rural character still exists.
Absolutely.
We've put in more and more trails to keep that rural character, but yet to meet that health needs and just provide safe places for people. But sidewalks, if you put in a sidewalk, you'll probably get hung from the highest tree.
That's what I'm told.
Yes.
Absolutely.
That's just not something that Bolton's akin to. Mm-hmm. We've certainly had, some new businesses come to town, but I think some of our main key businesses, and I'm not even going to try to name them all, but they have been here forever, and they're a part of our culture. They're a part of what makes Bolton, Bolton.
Absolutely. You've listed quite a few different projects that have been taken on over your time. Do you have a proudest achievement of yours?
I saved the two favorite projects that you get to be involved slightly with one, but the other one's finally done. Certainly the high school project was a $26 million project. Mm-hmm. I served as project manager for that on the town's behalf. That was just getting a high school project of that magnitude passed was a huge accomplishment.
Absolutely.
And then to come in almost $1 million under budget was another accomplishment. But the timing was just right economically for us to get fantastic bids to be able to do a lot with it. So certainly, that's a major accomplishment, and establishing the ordinance that puts funds towards the debt service until it's paid off makes a difference. Ironically, the one referendum that has had the highest approval of any referendum was actually for the sewer project, which is amazing by itself as you'll go through the referendum
Absolutely.
World. Because it's only for a small portion of town. Mm-hmm. And we did not have any choice. We were under a DEEP consent order to put in the sewers. It flows up from Manchester up Route 44 and around Bolton Lakes into Vernon. That was a $21 million project, and that by itself, as you learn about sewers, it just doesn't get more exciting than that.
Absolutely.
And you started to learn some of that it's full of excitement.
I have. Just last week had the chance to have a few meetings with some of the people who will be helping me out with that.
And, grinder pumps is a whole new experience. And, it's a challenge, but you'll find those challenging welcoming too, because it gives you the opportunity to learn and advance and to help the town.
Absolutely. And while we're on the subject of challenges, are there any other challenges or opportunities majorly that you see the town having to face or having the opportunity to come to in the next couple of years?
Well, I think I've talked to you about a few of them. We've talked about the space, and that town hall is desperately in need of space.
Yes.
And it goes beyond town hall, because now Notch Road is desperately needs to move people out of there except for the south wing. Yeah. So that's going to be a true challenge. I think there's wonderful opportunities. I wouldn't necessarily call it a challenge, but opportunities to further shared services. We were able to get the townwide facilities director, which from everything we've heard has been working out quite well.
A wonderful success, yes.
So I think there's opportunities to grow on that. You're going to be facing several retirements. I hate to say that I started it, but I did. But there's several staff that are reaching that age too. And good or bad, you'll lose some great staff, but I trust you'll be able to bring in great staff as well. Besides that, the end of I-384, the expressway to nowhere. Certainly challenges with the end of that is going to be something that you'll have to keep pushing and pushing and pushing. That's over 30 years old with me. I've got to think you got at least another 10 with it. But you may have success, I don't know. I think you will also have the opportunity to do a lot of great things, but the state can definitely impact plans for our town as well as every community out there. State aid and what's available for grants and things can make or break us.
Absolutely.
Budget is something you can look forward to. It happens on an annual basis. We haven't had a chance to go through much of that yet, but that's
later today.
That's later today, yes. And we talked about the last show, the opportunity to work together has been extremely beneficial for both of us.
Yes.
It's less writing for me to try to think of what I forgot, and you've asked excellent questions. So I just see this as positive for the town moving forward.
Absolutely. And again, I really can't thank you enough for over the past now 3 weeks going into fourth and final. Having the opportunity to be here with you has been tremendous, certainly for myself, but I think also for the town staff moving forward and in turn the residents. But what will you miss most about Bolton?
The community and the people. I mean, they become your family.
Absolutely. Absolutely. During your time before and here in Bolton, you've been involved in other community organizations like Special Olympics. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Special Olympics, I actually was involved in Illinois before I moved out here, so I'm probably approaching close to 40 years. And ironically, I didn't talk about when I first moved to Bolton. Part of the camera crew is where I moved to Treats property. And Treats also helped me with Special Olympics for a while. So it's, but Special Olympics has been a part of my life for a long time. And it's given me many opportunities to travel. We talked about it a little bit before the show, to go to various world games, and I got to go to Greece and be an observer. I got to go to Alaska. I've been all over the U.S. for different games. So it's a wonderful experience to be a part of something that big.
Absolutely.
We talked about the fire department already. When I first started here, we had a women's softball league and played on that, and coached high school softball. So it's been an active time, and I look back and say, how did I do everything? And as time wears on, then you'll start slowing down a little bit. But right now, you can go for it all.
Absolutely. Absolutely, and I hope to be able to walk in your footsteps as I go forward.
Well, you have the 300th coming up too.
That's very true.
Which is
Big
a challenge
celebration.
and an opportunity.
Yeah, and a great way to kick off certainly my time here in Bolton.
Yes.
And I hope that we can make that really a special experience for everybody here. So your last day is Thursday. How does it feel?
Unreal yet. We'll see it. I just sent a notice to the town clerk that at 3:45 on Thursday, I'm done and you're to be sworn in.
There you go. And what plans do you have for your retirement?
Sleep, unpack boxes, and probably in that order. Well, actually, most people would probably question why my last day is a Thursday, not a Friday. But I'm actually off to Special Olympics softball on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday in North Brantford. And then I will leave from there. So, ironically, Missouri is about a 22-hour drive. I have 9 million boxes packed for there. I don't know how they can all say master bedroom or kitchen. I didn't write that on them. Somebody else did, but that'll be a challenge. I cannot get a vehicle into the garage right now. So I have a lakefront house in Eagle Rock, Missouri. So I like people to, I always sign things as ER. So now people, when they see an ER sign, they'll always think of me.
There you go.
And hopefully not in a bad sense that they have to be at a hospital, but.
Excellent. So in your first week of retirement, you're going to have quite a bit of work cut out for you.
Yes, I believe so. I believe so.
Absolutely. Well, the town is going to miss you tremendously. If you have an opportunity to, if you right now have an opportunity to leave the town and folks who are watching today with one last thought or set of advice, what do you want to say?
For the town, that's an interesting question. It is far easier to sit over there than here. I think still for Bolton, I think there still is opportunity for growth, but protecting the rural character. And don't let Bolton slip to being like a Manchester or a Vernon, a larger area like that. I think that's key to protecting our rural character. People move to Bolton for that, and I think that's key. And to celebrate the 300th, that's, I was here for the 275th, and that was quite a celebration, but, you'll still be here in 25 years for the 325th, so you'll be able to start your planning early.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I've certainly learned from the best when it comes to getting all these plans in motion.
I will talk about, here, one of the ironic things that has happened during a show, though, was Bob Moore was my guest. And we actually had one of the lights above us blow during the middle of a show. And there's little sparks coming down. And we just kept talking. I've had another occasion that my battery went dead in my microphone, and somebody climbed in behind me and swapped it out. So there are challenges that are small like that, but those help build you for those bigger challenges.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much. You've had 31 wonderful years that have been marked by tremendous progress here in Bolton and have been marked by a variety of projects and really just a wonderful career that you're leaving behind and a wonderful legacy that you're leaving for us. So I can't thank you enough. I suppose that that concludes our show for today. I want to take a few minutes to talk about some things that are coming up in the near future. And actually, just tonight, you'll have the opportunity to come over and see both Joyce and I at the Board of Selectmen meeting. That's going to be at 7 p.m. tonight at Town Hall. And we'll be discussing a few things, including some upcoming events like the 300th celebration, natural resources, the town budget, and a little more. All residents are welcome to join us. Given that it is Joyce's last week, I don't know if she wants me advertising this too much, but you are certainly welcome to come down to Town Hall, say hello, and give her a very warm send-off as she departs on Thursday. So this week, we are back to school. Please drive safely. Be aware that kids are coming on and off buses. Kids are waiting at bus stops. As you've all likely heard, there have been some incidents already around the state where child safety hasn't been put at the forefront of our thoughts, and it's led to some unfortunate circumstances. We want to avoid that at all costs here in Bolton, so slow down and make sure that you're well on your way to work or wherever you may be going so that you don't need to speed or move too quickly around buses. Our next show is going to be on Tuesday, September 17th, again at 10:30 a.m. And while the guest is still to be determined, you can be sure that it will be somebody very special who will have something to share with you. And I hope that you'll tune in for, unfortunately, my first show here without Joyce having the opportunity to be here and serve as a bit of a guide. So thank you all very much, and thank you to the Community Voice channel for continuing to support this type of programming and make sure that we have the opportunity to share with each of you everything that you may need to know about Bolton. So thank you very much, and I hope that we'll see you tonight or in the next couple of days.